This computer is representative of the dreaded family PC. It has a slow dual-core processor, 1GB of RAM, and integrated graphics. If you're stuck in a household where this is your only option for computing, you might feel as though that modern PC gaming is simply out of reach. Especially when a lot of family computers like this are small form factor builds, leaving very little space or power supply headroom for expansion. This is where you have to get creative. First, I thought I'd get a baseline in performance before I began my upgrades. I tested Half-Life 2 and was astonished to see how poor the performance really was. It was playable on low settings, but for a game like Half-Life 2 which can run on a baked potato if you wanted it to, this was a little disappointing. The case proudly advertises having nvidia graphics, so you'd think that the gaming performance on this computer would be decent. Well, it's not. The Geforce 6150 SE graphics in this computer are so bad that a Geforce 210 is actually 2,178% faster. Even the integrated graphics and budget laptops at the time were up to 500% faster. So it's clear that the graphics and RAM need to be upgraded, so I gave myself just $50 to get this computer gaming ready. That way, anyone in this situation can find a cheap and easy way out. The first thing I did was upgrade the RAM from 1GB to 3GB. That alone made a huge difference. During the Half-Life 2 benchmark, I noticed the CPU was getting uncomfortably hot, so I bought the cheapest thermal paste possible and went to reapply the thermal paste. Removing the heatsink revealed that all the existing thermal paste had long since dried out, ruining most of the thermal contact. I attempted to mix my cheap thermal paste before application, but clearly failed anyway. I clearly applied too much, but considering how poorly the paste was mixed, I'd rather play it safe. That's gonna have to work. Then I moved on to adding a GPU, which... oh man. Small form factor pre-builds are notorious for being difficult to upgrade, and this HP was no exception. I plan on upgrading this PC with a GTX 460. The problem is, the case is as awkwardly designed as possible. There's a small metal tab attached to the hard drive enclosure, which made it so almost no graphics card could possibly fit. I attempted just bending back the tab to provide more space, but that wasn't enough. I ended up using bolt cutters to cut the tab off, but that didn't work so well either. Once I was done with the tab, the GTX 460 still would not fit, so I ended up using a 1GB GDDR5 HD6670, which can be found for $15 to $30. Not even my single slot HD6670 could fit. I ended up having to remove the GPU bracket and then bend the case with pliers to make everything fit. And after all of that, there's still one more issue I needed to address. The power supply in this HP was just 90 watts. 90 watts. To make things worse, these power supplies had a tendency to fail quite often. I ended up getting a cheap Antec 650 watt power supply and used that to power the graphics card. By the time I was done with all my upgrades, the computer looked like this. Thankfully, with this cable mess of a computer lacks in appearance, it makes up for in performance. The benchmarks speak for themselves. After all these upgrades, I'd have no problem classifying this as a low-end gaming PC. If you're extremely desperate and have no other options, then this might be something to look into. Honestly, it just makes more sense to build a new PC out of used parts. You can save some money and get a better outcome. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. What are your experiences with budget computing? Comment down below, like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.